Students, good morning. This is Somasundari. Today we are discussing about History Unit 2. The topic is the Chinese civilization. Children, before starting the class, I will ask few questions from previous topic. Are you ready? Okay, let's start. Question number 1. The northern part of Mesopotamia is dash. The northern part of Mesopotamia is dash. Answer is Assyria. Question number 2. The oldest civilization in Mesopotamia belonged to the dash. The oldest civilization in Mesopotamia belonged to the dash. Answer Sumerians. Question number 3. The main occupation of Mesopotamians was. The main occupation of Mesopotamians was. Answer agriculture. Dash was the capital city of Assyria. Question number 4. Dash was the capital city of Assyria. Answer Assur. Question number 5. Dash were pyramid-shaped monuments found in ancient Mesopotamia. Dash were pyramid-shaped monuments found in ancient Mesopotamia. Answer ziggurats. Answer is ziggurats. Okay, children, I hope you are all got correct answer, isn't it? Well done. Now we are going to today's topic, the Chinese civilization. The Chinese civilization began along the Yellow River in the Shang era and spread from there when Bronze Age culture reached its peak. Chinese civilization developed independently with very little influence from the cultures to the west. China has two major rivers. One is known as Huanghe. The Huanghe also known as Yellow River, and other is called Yangtze River. The Yellow River is known as the sorrow of China, since it changed its course and caused frequent floods. Evidence for prehistoric Peking man and Yama man exists in China. Neolithic communities lived in China between 4500 and 3750 BC. Henan province in the Yellow and Yangtze River Valley contain evidence for Neolithic villages. China had many city-states, and gradually the states became part of an empire. Next, polity and emperors of China. China is one of the oldest and most politically influential civilizations in the world. The political system of Imperial China can be categorized into a central political system, a local political system, and a system for the selection of officials. Emperors of China was the title given to the monarch of China during the imperial period of Chinese history. In traditional Chinese political theory, the emperor was considered the son of heaven. Shi Huangdi founded the Qin dynasty. The emperor had the title Son of Heaven. He is considered to be the first emperor of China. Who was the first emperor of China? Shi Huangdi, the first emperor of China. The period between 221 and 206 BC is known as the Imperial era in China. He conquered other principalities in 221 BC and remained the emperor till 212 BC. He defeated the feudal lords and establishing a strong empire. He is credited with unifying China. Shi Huangdi destroyed the walled fortifications of different states and constructed the Great Wall of China to protect the emperor from the invading nomadic people. He also built roads to integrate the empire. Now, the Great Wall of China.
This is the Ming Dynasty's Great Wall, the stone dragon that has become the image of the Great Wall of China throughout the world. It was built in the 16th century for much the same reason as the Han Walls, to protect the Middle Kingdom from the northern barbarians. But this gigantic construction is made not of earth, but of baked bricks. It's more than 7 meters thick at the base, and its battlements reach up to 20 meters high. It curves majestically through more than 1,200 kilometers of the mountains north of Beijing. It follows the natural line of the mountain peaks, reaching breathtaking heights before plunging into the deepest ravines. Visitors stand speechless before this architectural masterpiece and admire the audacity of its builders, even while they wonder about its real military effectiveness. But there's little doubt about the message. This is the frontier of our world. On the other side, the alien world begins. This wall is the expression of a culture that wanted to be entirely self-sufficient. This stone monument marks the peak of wall building in China's long history. Almost every dynasty had built its own wall. There was never a single strategic idea. Some reckon that all the walls added together would stretch for 25,000 kilometers. Many parts of many walls are still to be discovered. On the Yellow River, close to the once so hotly disputed Ordos region, there are still a few remains. Here and there, ruined towers and tumbling sections of walls still rear out of the sand. Over the centuries, the wind and the rain have taken their toll on the walls of packed earth. The relics of the old ramparts seem to merge with the natural landscape, as if they were never built by man. Hard to believe here, in the myth of the wall, as a symbol of the nation's strength.
The Great Wall of China. The Great Wall of China is the collective name of the series of fortification systems generally built across the historical northern borders of China to protect and consolidate territories of Chinese states and empires against various nomadic groups of the steppe and their polities. The Great Wall of China, one of the wonders of the world, was a massive effort undertaken for the protection of China from the Mongols. In 220 BC, under Qin Shi Huang, earlier fortifications were connected by walls as a form of defense against invasions. It was built from 3rd century BC until 17th century CE. It ran over 20,000 kilometers, covering the hills and plains from the border of Korea in the east, the Odes Desert in the west. Children, next I'll explain the Han Empire. The Han dynasty was the second imperial dynasty of China, preceded by the Qin dynasty and conflict known as the Chow-Han contention. While succeeded over 4 centuries, the Han period is considered a golden age of Chinese history. During this period, a written history of this empire was made available in China. The greatest of the Han emperors, Wu Ti, expanded the empire and built many public amenities including irrigation tanks. He sent Shang Qian, his emissary, to the west in 138 BC and thereby paved way for the opening of Silk Road in 130 BC to encourage trade activities. Because of the Silk Road and the resultant trade connections, China benefited immensely during the rule of Emperor Shang. Chinese silk was much sought after by the Romans during the time of the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius in 166 C. Some of the Chinese silk might have reached Rome through the ports of Tamilaham.
In 221 BC, China's warring kingdoms were unified for the first time under powerful Emperor Qin Shi Huang. But he is most remembered for the massive tomb complex he built in Xi'an to ensure he would rule with the same power in the afterlife. This was the result, an entire army made of terracotta. Though over 2,000 years old, they were discovered only a few decades ago.
In the pit behind me stand almost 6,000 life-size terracotta soldiers. They were buried along with China's first emperor.
Every single one of these soldiers is unique, and every single one was found broken. The soldier in the best condition was found in only 20 pieces. The soldier in the worst condition was found in 300 pieces. This must be the world's biggest jigsaw puzzle.
The immensity of the sight and expressions on these mighty warriors just hits you in the face.
我每次走到1号坑的时候，仍然感到这种。
Every time I pass by Pit 1, I'm still greatly shaken. Knowing the emperor regularly walked this area and personally approved every sculpture, I can almost feel him standing there, contemplating. This is an incredibly detailed vision of what the most powerful man in China wanted to look upon throughout eternity.
Discovered by farmers digging for a well in 1974, the tomb is slowly revealing its secrets and continues to mesmerize everyone involved.
I've been around the terracotta warriors for 34 years, but I never feel tired of looking at them. Every time I see them, I find something new.
如果每天看，我每天都感到新鲜感。
After 2,000 years, Emperor Qin Shi Huang's terracotta army remains on guard, standing resolute and ready to protect him throughout eternity. Viking river cruises, let us share with you the fascinating mysteries of ancient China.
Next, the Terracotta Army. The Terracotta Army is a collection of terracotta sculptures representing the armies of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. The Terracotta Army refers to the large collection of terracotta warrior images found in China. They were buried with the king in 210 to 209 BC. They are found at the northern foot of the Lishan mountain, 35 kilometers northeast of Xi'an, Shaanxi province, as a part of the mausoleum of the king. Philosophy and literature of Chinese. The Chinese poets and philosophers such as Laozi, Confucius, Mencius, Moti, and Tao Qian contributed to the development of Chinese civilization. Chen Tzu, a military strategist, wrote the work called Art of War. The spring and autumn annals of the official chronicle of the state at the time. The Yellow Emperor's Canon of Medicine is considered China's earliest written book of medicine. He was codified during the time of Han Dynasty. Laozi. The Laozi was the master of archive keeper of Zhou state. He was the founder of Taoism. He argued that desert to the root cause of all evils. Who was the founder of Taoism? Laozi was the founder of Taoism. Confucius. Confucius was famous among the Chinese philosophers. He was a political reformer, His name means Huang the Master. He insisted on cultivation of one's own personal life. He said, if personal life is cultivated, family life is regulated. He said, if personal life is cultivated, family life is regulated. And once family life is regulated, national life is regulated. Next, Mencius. Mencius was another well-known Chinese philosopher. He traveled throughout the China, offered his counsel to the rulers. Chinese developed writing system from early time. Initially, it was a pictographic system and later it was converted into a symbol form.
Today we're going to learn about the different contributions that China gave the world. Please take notes on the following information. During the Qin dynasty, writing, language, money, and measurement were all standardized, so everyone was using the same. This is also when the construction of the Great Wall of China began. After the Emperor Qin Shi Huang died, the infamous terracotta army was built to protect him in the afterlife. During the Han Dynasty, they started the process of the Silk Road, which is the trade route that goes between China and Europe. China developed the process of making paper, and Chinese scientists also developed a seismograph. The seismograph measures the magnitude of earthquakes. In this picture, it shows an ancient seismograph where a little tiny ball would fall into the frog's mouth in the direction that the earthquake occurred. After the fall of the Han Dynasty, there was a period of chaos, but inventions and creations did not stop there. Tea, propellers, and matches were all created during this time to help mankind. Porcelain is a ceramic material made by heating raw materials, generally including clay. This process began during the Sui Dynasty. That is why we call plates of this nature good china, because that's where it began. The Grand Canal was also began during this period. The Grand Canal was created to help transport things in China, specifically moving food north and south. Gunpowder is a mixture of sulfur, charcoal, and potassium nitrate, and it is the first chemical explosive created in China during the Tang Dynasty. During the Tang Dynasty, standardized tests were also created. The Chinese used them to evaluate civil servants to see if they could serve the government. An example of a standardized test for you would be the CSAP. Now that there was gunpowder in China, they figured out how to use that as a weapon. They built rockets, cannons, and guns. During the Song Dynasty, they also discovered how to use a magnetic compass, which helped them determine directions as they were exploring. Movable type printing was also developed. Movable type is a system of printing that uses movable components to reproduce the elements of a document instead of just handwriting them. During the Yuan Dynasty, which was the Mongolian dynasty, there was a lot of emphasis on the arts, in landscape painting and opera and music. During the Yuan Dynasty, they also figured out how to trade using paper money, which eliminated the weight of using coins as money.
Children, next I'll explain contribution of the Chinese civilization. Ancient China has many contributions to the modern world. The China had started to contribute to the modern world since 1600 BC. Their most contribution was their invention that were created and some had been made by accident. Their inventions were paper, compass, silk, gunpowder, and fireworks. The ancient Chinese civilization had a huge impact on the modern world, but mostly was all about their inventions. Paper. Paper was their most proudest contribution because it is still used today. The ancient Chinese compass was also another great invention. The compass was mostly a type of magnetic metal all around with a spoon like a figure on top to point a direction. Silk. Silk was an important fabric in ancient China. Silk was always traded from China to another country. Ancient China had many contributions to the modern world. Invention from ancient China had been a contribution because some we still use today. Their contributions were mostly about the inventions and some from the civilization. Ancient China was a great place to make many inventions and are still figuring out how to make more inventions today. China deserves everything that they have now because they worked hard for it throughout these many years. All the information has given as a solid conclusion that China has a developed system of communication, writing, and religion. Children, now I'll explain one important short answer. Note it down. Explain the contribution of the Chinese civilization. So, important short answer, keep it in your mind. Explain the contribution of the Chinese civilization. Writing system was improved. Invention of paper. Opening of the Silk Road. Invention of gunpowder. Got it? Okay, children, now we are going to end of this session. I hope you are all understanding today's topic. Children, revise the portion properly. Chinese civilization, very important paragraph question. Okay, children, one more important work I'll give you. Already I told you handwriting is very important to you, isn't it? Yes. So, whenever you revise the portions, you must write at least 2 times. Okay, don't forget it. Not only social, you must revise all subjects. Next class, I will ask a few questions from today's topic. So, study properly. Okay, children, thank you. See you next class.